Okay, last part so of the geometry chapter. So lines parallel to side of a triangle. Okay, so I suppose this here can be split up into two similar triangles. Okay, we'd have the big one, and then we have this smaller one here. Okay, so they're similar because we know that they share the top angle. Then these two angles will be equal because they're corresponding. These two angles are equal because they're corresponding. Okay, so actually this is like two similar triangles where the smaller one has been put into the larger one. Okay, so because of that, we can use the same properties that we were using of similar triangles before. We were saying if the sides of a triangle are proportional on one side, then they're proportional on the other side as well. Okay, so that's what we're using here. So on this one, we want to find the length of AE, which is up here. Okay, so what we can do there is, we'll call that X there for the moment. So I suppose because 9 is the full length of the triangle, we could add these together. So it should be 12 over, and then the side that's proportional to X will be this one here, 8. So it'll be 12 over 8. So the whole thing over the top part is equal to the whole thing here, which is 9, over the top part, which is X. Okay, and then we've got an equation to solve. So that's what it would have looked like anyway if we'd actually gone to the trouble of splitting them and labelling them. That's what the equation that we would have come up with as well there. Okay, so we can cross multiply then. 12x is equal to 72, so x is equal to 6. Okay, the second one, so there. So again, we have our two similar triangles, the big one and the small one is slotted into it. So again, we can say that these sides are proportional to these sides. So to find x, so if we go with this side first, it should be the top part, which is 7 over 2 is equal to 9 over x. Okay, so 7x is equal to 18, and we cross multiply, so x is equal to 18 over 7. Okay. You could take the whole thing in that one as well if you wanted. You could add those together to be 9, which would be 9 over 2 is equal to, then this side, the whole thing would be 9 plus x over x. Then 9x is equal to 18 plus 2x. Bring over the 2x, 7x is equal to 18. So x is equal to 18 over 7 again. Okay. Right, the third one, so now these ones are slightly different because we've been given the bases of the triangles this time. Okay, so we have to be a bit more careful now in these if it's the lengths of the parallels that we've been given. Okay, so in this one again we can see we want to find this length here. Okay, so I'm going to take the parallels first. So I'm going to say 10 over 8 is equal to, so I took the base of the large triangle, so the side of the large triangle would be here, so I'm going to call that x over, and then there's over 8, so the side of the small triangle is 6. Okay, so when you're using the parallels, I'd be much more conscious of the two triangles. So it's the whole triangle is 10, the whole triangle is the question mark, the base of the smaller triangle is 8, the side of the smaller triangle is 6. Okay, and that'll be a bit more evident now when we get to the next one, why it's so important. So then if we cross multiply there, we have 8x is equal to 60, so x is equal to 60 over 8. So x is equal to 7.5. Okay. Right, the fourth one now. So again, we have the bases, or the parallel lines is the information we've been given. And again, we're finding the full length of the full side there, so we call that x. Okay, so again, if we started off with 12 over 9 is equal to, so the 12 was the full base of the big triangle. So the side of the big triangle now is x. 9 was the base of the small triangle. So we need to put that over the side of the small triangle. So that won't be going over 3, okay, because it's this part here that we're interested in. Okay, so it was 12, the base of the big triangle over the side of the big triangle, equals the base of the small triangle over the side of the small triangle. Okay, so it needs to go over this part. So to come up with an expression for that, it would be x, the full thing, minus 3. Okay, so that's where it can get a small bit tricky. If you use the 3 there, it'll be wrong. Okay, so as I said, when we're dealing with these parallel lines, when we're given the numbers of those, the length of those parallel lines, we must be much more conscious of picking out the big triangle and the small triangle. Okay, so we can cross multiply then. So 9x is equal to 12x minus 36. Okay, so bring over the 9, it'll be 3x is equal to, bring over the minus 36. So 3x equals 36 over 3 over 3. So x is equal to 12. Okay, so when you're going through these, when you're writing them into your notes copy, I want you to be particularly thinking of the small triangle and the big triangle. Okay, and make sure you understand why it's not going over 3, why it's going over x minus 3. Okay.